Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to All Things Division 3 Soccer with SimpleCoach and Jackie. I am SimpleCoach. You guessed it, she is sleeping. That is Jackie. Anyhow, today I wanted to hop into the top 25 women's teams. It's been a little bit delayed, but I made it a lot more complicated than it needed to be. But I probably watched and rewatched 30 games or so to figure it all out. Remember, part of the problem of doing these things is that I have some rules. One of them is that to be in the top 25, I had to have watched a team at least once to be eligible. So if I didn't watch you, you weren't eligible to make the top 25. But I tried to end up watching a number of teams on multiple times. So, and then also just a reminder, this isn't about a ranking about where you ended up at the end of the season. My rankings I like to look at and create based on what I call the totality of their work. So, whether or not you make the tournament, or make it far or not far is not a prerequisite. It helps because there's more games and you can test yourself against better competition, that sort of thing. But I kind of look more broadly than that and try to figure out, hey, how did you do during the season? Who were your opponents? That sort of thing. So, and unfortunately, as a result, I ended up leaving off so many good teams, which was part of the problem. It wasn't so much trying to figure out the top, let's say the top 10. It was, 15 through 25. There were probably, I'll say 20 teams that I looked at for those spots, like Pacific Lutheran, MIT, Virginia Wesleyan, come on. To a certain extent, I thought I was a little bit nuts for not including them, but such is the life of a team picker. I don't know. Nonetheless, I finally settled in on my top 25, and so I'm prepared to announce them to the entire globe. So here it is. Okay, so at number 25, 14-2-2, Rowan University in Glassboro, New Jersey. 14-2-2. I actually think that NJAC was a lot stronger than what it's giving credit for. Rowan won the regular season and then lost to TCNJ in the tournament final. A very, very solid team. Number 24, MIT, the NUMAC champs at 12-4-1. They lost in the third round of the NCAA tournament to a very good John Carroll University. Speaking of, at number 23, John Carroll University at 16-2-5. They were both OAC regular season champs and tournament champions. And they made it to the quarterfinals after beating Case Western, as I mentioned, the SimpleCoach number 25 MIT, before falling to number 3 Messiah. At 22, TCNJ, the College of New Jersey, 16-3-1. They beat Rowan, as I mentioned earlier, number 25 Rowan. This is a top program. A little bit of some, has a new coach and some transition things going on since Joe Russo retired. But this is a top program that always manages to be one of the top in the country. So not one to be ignored. So again, NJAC, a lot tougher than what people realize. Okay, number 21, Misericordia MAC Freedom Tournament winners knocked out in the second round by the University of University of Rochester. Coming in at number 20, 14-3-2, NYU. A great season by NYU, making all the way to the quarterfinals before losing to the University of Paywall by a goal. At 19, 18-3, I don't know what they're doing over at North Central College between football and both soccer programs. 18-3 CCIW champions, and they lost in PKs to Chicago in the tournament. Both, the men and the women in this case, just playing some great soccer. Number 18, 21-2, the WIAC champs of Wisconsin lacrosse. In the quarterfinals, they took Wash U, the NCAA runners up, all the way to PKs. So just in another place, Wisconsin, just some incredible soccer being played up there. Number 17, Hardin Simmons, 17-2 and through, the ASC tournament winners over Mary Hardin Baylor. They lost in the third round to the eventual champs, Cal Lutheran. At 16, this is an interesting one. 16-1-3, Pomona Pitzer. I think this is a team that could have won the national championship. They were the winner of the SCIAC. They beat Cal Lutheran in that tournament game, and then they were knocked out by Cal Lutheran in the NCAA tournament. So, again, I think if one of these, I'm going to do a randomized drawing of the NCAAs and just sort of see how far teams could have gotten. But I think they could have won it. So, number 15, Calvin, 17-2-2. Just a fantastic team. Regular season wins over North Central, a very good Chicago. They won the MIAA tournament and then lost in the third round to Wash U. At 14, Mary Hardin Baylor, 16-2-1. As I mentioned, they won the regular season in the ASC. They lost to Hardin Simmons in the tournament, and then, because it went to PKs, they were knocked out in the first round against Emory. I really liked this Crusaders team. Number 13, 12-2-4, Case Western Reserve University out of Cleveland. Last year's runners up. They beat Misericordia, NYU, tied U of Paywall, and Carnegie Mellon, and then lost to JCU. I thought this was a special team, so really, really quality. Number 12, William Smith College of Hobart and Smith, 14-1-4. I love this team. I really did. I was rooting for them a little bit throughout the season. Thought they played some great soccer. They beat Messiah in the regular season. They won the Liberty League tournament. And then they lost to a very talented Bowdoin in OT in the NCAAs. So number 11 at 16-3-2, Johns Hopkins University. The 2022 national champs followed up the last year's season, with winning the Centennial Conference and then beating Penn State Behrend in the opening round of the NCAAs, and then lost to Virginia Wesleyan in the NCAAs. Okay, top 10 now. Number 10, Carnegie Mellon at 12-1-6. They didn't lose the entire season, and they tied hefty UAA opponents like Emory, University of Paywall, Wash U, Chicago, NYU, and Case. And then they made it to the second round of the NCAAs losing to that very good team, NYU. So number nine, Tufts University 11-5-5. They made it to the NCAA semifinals, falling to the eventual champs Cal Lutheran. They pretty much ran the gauntlet through in the NESCAC, but really found their ways in the NCAA. Really found their way in the NCAAs by beating F&M, TC&J, Bowdoin, U of Paywall, and then before they lost in PKs to the Regals of Cal Lutheran. So great season. Like they really turned it on, and once the tournament rolled around. So speaking of paywalls, number 8, University of Paywall, University of Rochester. I'm still blocked on Twitter, but I still love the both teams. Outstanding season for the 15-1-5 Rochester ladies. And I thought they had the talent to get through Tufts to make it to the semis. They went 12-0-5 during the regular season and worked their way through Penn State, Barron, Misericordia, NYU, before falling to Tufts in a tight game in Rochester. So, see, I complimented, so maybe you can unblock me on Twitter. Okay, number 7, 19-2. The winner of the American Rivers Conference title, Loras, has just another incredible year. They are another team that just reloads every year. So the Dewhawks made it to the third round, getting through Lake Forest and then Chicago, before coming up against the very talented Wisconsin Lacrosse, who beat them. So number 6, 19-0-3, Christopher Newport University. They went with 3 ties all season. They lost to the eventual champions, Cal Lutheran, in PKs. Just another outstanding season from Christopher Newport, who I think is pretty safe to say has cemented itself as one of the top 10 teams in the country, or top 10 programs in the country. So shout out to head women's coach Jamie Gunderson for all the work he's done and his staff. So, okay, number 5, 18-2-1 NESCAC champions Amherst. They only lost once in the regular season in a conference battle with Williams. They have a ton of attacking talent, I think young talent, and made it to the Sweet 16 before falling to Messiah. All right, so this next one I wasn't sure to include, but I decided to include them because they are that good. But at 16-2, number 4, Hartford. So this is their first time in D3, and they really tore it up. Their only losses were against Division I Merrimack and then Colby. They can't or couldn't compete in the postseason tournaments, but keep an eye. They could have won it. That's how good I thought they were. Number 3, Messiah. The Falcons, 21-2-1. They only had 2 losses in the regular season, and they played some great ball throughout. They won the MAC Freedom and fell to WashU in PKs in the semis. So, which leaves number 2, who I thought was destined to win it all, WashU at 18-2-3. They were undefeated in the season. Undefeatable. They were undefeatable. They weren't undefeated. They were undefeatable. So they didn't even have a tie up until they came up against University of Paywall. They still won the UAA Conference title and then made it to the finals, where they obviously lost to Cal Lutheran, who, let's just jump right to it. At number 1, Cal Lutheran 21 1 and 4. They're deserving of the spot and had a remarkable season. And again, their only loss came to Pomona Pitzer in the SCIAC final. And like I mentioned earlier, I thought Pomona Pitzer, the two teams out of California, Pomona Pitzer and Cal Lutheran, are national champion material. And I just think that they end up crossing paths, and one of them survives. And I think that's the trick about the way that the brackets are sorted out. So, all right. So my top 25s. Okay. So thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed those top 25 Division III women's teams for 2023. I also, if you go to d3soccer.fans under the SC Women's Top 25, you will be able to see the top 25 listed out where it's posted there. I don't think what I do is anything unique. I just sort of, put it together based on my personal preferences and who I like, who I don't like, that sort of thing. But there's other rankings on the website. You can find the Massey rankings, and then you can find the NCAA rankings. Don't forget, if you love this content, you really enjoy it, do the man a favor, subscribe, like it, smash the bell, whatever that does. And if you're looking to support this and some of the things we're doing around d3soccer.fans, the message boards that I stood up just 2 weeks ago, and more content here, feel free, hop on over to Patreon. I have a Patreon page where basically whatever I raise gets pumped back into the different platforms. So just trying to make it better and more in depth. So finally, would love to hear your top 25s. Feel free to shoot me an email, or better yet, just comment below if you think I'm nuts. By all means, put it there. Would appreciate some commentary. So with that, thanks for checking out the top 25 women's teams in Division III soccer for 2023. And hopefully we'll catch each other again soon. Thanks a lot.